I make no apologies of being a big fan of our Aboriginal people in this country. Now, some people call them TOs, some people call them Indigenous, some people call them First Nation people, whatever. Some of them don't like being called Aboriginal, some of them do like being called. It's a mess, it really is. But let's say there's no, if I say anything that might be offensive to somebody, there's no offence intended. I'm a big fan. I find axe heads like this and I just love them. But I look at it and say, righto, what's the true story? And it reminds me then of a comment that I had come through on my channel, and the guy that wrote it was a little bit offensive, so I deleted his comment, but he did make a couple of good points. He said, these axe heads, he said, they're the same now as what they were, a long time ago. He said, they were still chipping ones like this 300 years ago. This could be 300 years old, could be 30,000 years old. We don't really know. Now think about it. They never had any horses. They never had any cattle, sheep, goats, alpacas, llamas, camels, donkeys, nothing. They didn't have any beasts of burden. They didn't have any animal they could domesticate except the dingo, which was, even then, it was slightly domesticated. So they had no beasts of burden. If they wanted to have a cart to pull something with, they had nothing. You could put a kangaroo in it, and how'd that be for you? Ooh, holy, yeah. You imagine going along, woohoo, with a couple of kangaroos harnessed up. It's not going to work. So the nature of this country, they had no corn, no wheat, no barley, no oats, rye, rice, no potatoes. Okay, we had yams and all that sort of stuff. But all the stuff that helped the Caucasian people really get along, get by, to exist, the sources of fat, the sources of milk, these poor buggers here didn't have that. They had lean protein, they had shellfish and fish, but they didn't have any sources of fat, didn't have any milk. So you imagine being a child when you're going to be weaned off mum. What do you wean onto? Hard protein. Okay, it didn't really work. This was tough country for anybody to survive in. We can't be judgmental. We've got to realise that this is the way that worked in this country for tens of thousands of years. And during the same period of time, the rest of the world, whether it be India, Northern Africa, Asia, Europe, these people have invented just about everything we know, from steel, copper, bronze, iron, the wheel. Our mob has fought so many battles, butchered each other by the hundreds of thousands of millions of people. We've committed all sorts of atrocities. And at the same time, this marvellous race of people have kept things very simple. And probably if we hadn't arrived here, they'd be still doing the same things now. Now, I guess a lot of people are wondering just what the heck old Clarkie is getting at here. Well, it's pretty simple, actually. My belief is that the Aboriginal people of any country don't have the right to hold any high moral ground. Their history is just as bloody and just as ruthless as, say, a person like myself of Celtic origin. I've read as much as I can, gone to museums, I've talked to TOs, I've talked to scientists about it. I've tried to get an understanding of exactly what's happened, and it's so complex. From what I can see and from what I can research, that over recent years, DNA studies have shown that all Aboriginal people in each country, as they have arrived, as a stronger population has arrived into an area, they push out what was a less warlike, or let's say weaker, archaic race of people. And basically the men would have been butchered and the women would have been taken into their tribal clan. Exactly what my forefathers, my forebears would have done. If you want a good eye-opener and mind opener on this. I'm not saying it's perfect, but a good read is The History of the English-Speaking People by Winston Churchill. It goes through how the Picts, the Celts, the Normans, the Anglo-Saxons, the Vikings, the Romans, all the Germanic tribes, they all fought, overtook each other, killed the men, took the women in. And that's been proven out by the DNA samples. Now, in Australia, the evidence of the Denisovan, the Dravidian, the Neanderthal, the Negritoid, East Asian DNA is all there to be seen. It shows that there, as one race, one culture moved in, another one moved behind it and took it over and pushed some of these cultures ahead of them. That's why we probably saw a big push of people right through to Tasmania, and there was even some races, some cultures that were still there when white man first came to the country that were still getting pushed into extinction. Talking to TOs in the Northern Territory, they talked about the little people that were here first, right, before their mob came. And some say that they were killed and eaten and chased and hounded all the way down. They talk about the straight-haired fella. They talk about the curly-haired fella, right? And there is two distinct styles in amongst the Aboriginal people. As you go up the coast, the Waka, the Kabi, the Tarumbul, the Wakari, all the ones there right up the coast from where I was brought up. And it would seem highly probable that there was a very strong race of Aboriginal people that arrived in this country about 4,000 years ago, and they pushed all else ahead of them. These people would have been the ones that brought the dingo with them in their canoes as a domestic dog. Now, I would suggest you don't take my word for it, okay? Read these papers. I'll put a few of the titles up here, just a few. Do your own research, read them, have a look at it, see what the studies are finding, what they're suggesting, and make your own conclusions, just as I've done. Now, there'll be people out there now raving away, frothing at the mouth, saying, what would he know? He's just a dumb old dingo trapper. Well, I've been around a bit, and I always try and keep my eyes, my ears, and my mind wide open. Here I am now in British Columbia, Canada. Okay, I've just come back from the Yukon. I witnessed firsthand the racial division, the welfare mentality, and the senseless waste of money and really good people driven by government policies that just seem to want to divide rather than unite people. A few months ago, we were in New Zealand. Same thing there, the same senseless, mindless policies from government who seemed hell-bent on creating division. What we've noticed on our trip around the South Island here of New Zealand, everywhere we've gone, we've seen signs saying stop the three waters. These signs are everywhere. Everywhere we go here now, like there is a big movement on here. People are fed up with what's going on. What we've noticed when we've talked to people everywhere is their concern about the racism that's going on now in this country. And what it did, it reminded me of exactly the same as what we're about to face in Australia. My attitude is there's one race, the human race. We're all together. We are all one. Okay, there's different ethnic groups, there's different people from all the different countries around the world. And within those countries, there's different ethnic groups. Okay, that's great. The people have their different ethnic origins. You come from this country, you come from that country. That's your heritage. It's got to be preserved. But we're one race, the human race. What we're seeing is all this rhetoric and this BS that's being forced on everybody to divide people. And most of it is whether you're black or you're white. And as one guy said up here recently, one of the politicians, he said you're either Maori, you're Pakeha, or you're everyone else. Right? They're splitting people into like 3 different groups. I've talked to great Maori people here since we've been here, and all saying the same thing. We don't want to see this division. We want to get on. We want to work together. We're standing here now on the shores of the beautiful Lake Manapuri, and just this plaque here just drives it home to me, the level, if I can say it, of bullshit that's going on. I won't go along with it. I just won't go along with it. You read this sign here, what it says. Basically, it says that the Maori chiefs dug this lake, okay? Come on, guys, you came here less than 800 years ago in your own history. You came here in great canoes, and that's all recognised and understood and respected. Sorry, you didn't dig it. Sorry, you did not dig it. I'm not going along with it. Get out of here. There seems to be people out there that want us fighting against each other instead of getting on, right? I see here stories of great things that the Maori people have done. Yes, you've been here less than 800 years. And since you've been here, when you first arrived, you ate the original people, the Morioris, you ate them out. A lot of people say there's nothing, no cannibalism, rubbish. People talk about that. My dad talks about the stories that he was told by his granddad and great-grandfather of literally acres of bones, windrows of bones, of human bones and moa bones. Where are the moa now? Where are the roa? Eaten into extinction. The takahe was nearly gone completely, okay? Can't we get over this, people? Can't we all live as one, right? No one group, ethnic group, needs to be better than anybody else. It's about time we all got on. Now, a few years ago, I was given the incredible honour, I can't say it any other way, an honour. I was asked to be an honorary elder with the Kareg people of the Kareg group of islands, the Kareg homelands in Torres Strait. Now, we were working up there trying to develop a land and sea management project with them. And it just seemed that if you weren't prepared to kiss the hand, kneel down, kiss the hand or the butt of the elites in the Aboriginal industry, then there was no funding. I saw great people up there with such good intentions. Watch the money just flitter away, disappear into just another Aboriginal corporation, rather than going to the people on the ground that really sincerely wanted to do good for their own people. So what is my take-home message here? What am I raving on about? It's pretty simple. We have seen an Aboriginal industry develop in all our Commonwealth countries, and it seems to me, my opinion is that there's been a huge amount of money, plenty of money thrown at it to fix the problems that are there. There's people suffering, okay? I go to some of the Aboriginal missions up north. I see some of the ones here in Canada. I talk to some of the people in New Zealand. There's so much needs to be done. But instead of the money going to the people that need it, it seems to dissolve into the thousands and thousands of bureaucratic institutions that have evolved around that government pig trough of money. We need to stop this madness. We need to stop the division. We are all one race, the human race. We need to get on. Let the past be the past. Let's look at the future together. We must work this together and stop the division. Please listen to great people like Warren Mundine. Now, that is a man that I would vote for in an instant. Jacinta Napajinka Price. what a beautiful young lady. Listen to these people. YouTube, Google what they say. They do not talk racism. They do not talk division. We have got a huge decision to make in October, and it'll come down to voting yes or no, okay? We need change in this country, but we need an audit rather than a voice.